Hi, Jewells68 here for Talk to Me Tuesday on Tuesday, May 12th. I have several things to show you, but a couple of them I'm going to have to go back in time to show you. Well, one of them I'll go back in time to show you, and the other one I'll only be able to show you a photograph. As of last week, this time, I had not finished anything for Project Linus, and our meeting was this past weekend. So I decided to dig through my stuff for something I might be able to finish before Saturday morning. Some of you may remember, way back in 2009, I started back when I was only knitting, I got into Mason-Dixon knitting, had a book out called Mason-Dixon Knitting, and they had a method that they showed how to do in their book called log cabin knitting. And I got kind of hooked on it for a while. I did several blankets. I did a baby blanket. I did a blanket for my mom, which I now have on the back of my chair in my office at work. And I did this one with scraps from leftover from other projects that I called my scrappy log cabin. And originally it was intended to be a queen size blanket, or to cover a big enough blanket to cover our queen size bed. It's all garter stitch, this method, and it involves a lot of picking up stitches to start adding the next section. And so you start in the center just like you would with a log cabin quilt. And so it was very boring. You know, the more I did it and the more experienced I got, the more bored I got with it. Also, it kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. This was worsted weight yarn. I was eventually on a 36-inch circular size. These were size 7 needles. And it just kept getting heavier and heavier, and it was really bothering my elbow. So I couldn't work on it all the time. I had to pick it up in between. Eventually it got to about, I don't know, 40 inches square or something like that. And I put it down. I had recently taught myself how to crochet, and I was so much faster with that, and I was really getting into learning different stitches and stuff that I put it down in the fall of 2009. I was still working on it. That was when I had it about between a yard and 40 inches square, and I never picked it up again. So since October, November 2009, it has been sitting in a space bag with mothballs in it, waiting for me to finish it. So I dug it out on Tuesday evening, or Wednesday morning, I can't remember which. Tossed it in the wash to get the smell of mothballs out. And Wednesday evening, I guess, or maybe during the day, sometime Wednesday, I started crochet. I was like, I'm just going to crochet a border on this sucker, and maybe I can get it done by the weekend. It was very painstaking going around with the single crochet into the knit stitches. I must have had a lot going on in my life right then, because some of those bind-off stitches around the edges were super tight, which I normally am a pretty loose knitter, so that was kind of interesting. So I eventually got that done, and I'll show a picture of that at the end of the video. But it did get finished. I did a row of single crochet in white. It was all different colors. I did a single crochet in white all the way around, and then I went around again with half double crochet, and then I single crocheted backwards around the blanket the other direction in black just to finish it off. There was no black in the blanket, so I felt like that kind of finished the blanket, if that makes any sense. It was a race against time. I had not had a chance to weave in the ends before my Project Linus meeting on Saturday, and I was late to the meeting. So I took nothing but that to work on, and 20 minutes before the meeting ended, when we were halfway through our show and tell, which we started at 11 o'clock in the morning, I had just finished weaving in the ends and managed to sew in, actually right before show and tell started, right before 11 o'clock I finished weaving in the ends and started sewing the Project Linus label on the back, and I managed to finish that with 20 minutes before the meeting ended. So it was a race against time, but I got it done. So another thing I did that I got done in time for Project Linus was I took a panel that I've had in my stash for several years that I bought at a sidewalk sale, and using the pillowcase method where you don't use any binding, I sewed it right sides together to a piece of fleece, and then turned it right side out and finished stitching it. I used steam-a-seam to attach the Project Linus label because I didn't feel like sewing it on by hand. I just cut it to the size of the label and fused it onto the back because I felt like it. And I have some footage that I shot of that because I wanted to get some shots outside while the light was good. And so we're going to go back in time to when I had just finished that blanket, which was Friday morning. So let's go back in time now. Hey everybody, Jewells68 here. It's Friday, May 8th, and I just took this little guy out of the dryer. I'm going to be turning him in tomorrow at our monthly Project Linus meeting, and I wanted to show what I did. However, the wind is picking up, and so I'm going to have to make this quick. This is a panel that I purchased. I'm just going to show you my small amount of quilting that I did. I purchased this panel at a sidewalk sale like 5 years ago maybe, when I was first getting into quilting, and I thought it'd be a good one to practice on, and then I just sat there. So Tuesday rolled around and I realized I had nothing finished for this weekend, so I dug it out, pressed it, dug through my stash for a piece of fleece that I could put with it for the back so that I didn't have to use batting, and I quilted it the last couple of nights. So all I did was go along right here. Well, I did it pillowcase style, so I did it right sides together, stitched along the edge about a ½ inch from the edge, trimmed that up, left a space to turn it right side out, turned it right side out, pressed it again. Down here is where I left the opening, and I top stitched that, and then continued top stitching all the way around as close to the edge as I could, and then I stitched again right along the border. I did that next all the way down. I skipped the ear, and I left some spaces here and there so that, because I'd read that sometimes you have some issues with fleece puckering when you use it on the back. So originally I just did the edge, and then I thought that's not enough. So then I outlined his ears and his eyes and his nose and his mouth and the little beeline. Whoops, let me see if I can get my hand in there. Beeline, wee, over here, and I stitched that. That wasn't enough either, so then I added this stitch, followed this beeline, and then I finally decided it needed some stitching in the middle. So I just basically followed these lines just on the bottom of each one of whatever this is. It's like a stacking toy or something, and just followed it all the way across. And then I stitched inside the corners, or inside the edge of this square right here, because there really wasn't much quilting on this side of the quilt. And then I called it done. I'm gonna just show you real quick what this looks like on the back. You can see, look, you can see his little bear face. I just think that's too cute. The other ones just kind of look like lines, but I love that you can see the outline of the bear. That was kind of what I was going for there, and actually tell what it is. So that's that. I have something else I hope to have finished by tomorrow morning. We will see. If so, I will at least take photos of that. And all right, back to the back to the present day. And we're back. The other thing that I did this week was last night, just last night, mind you, after all this racing to finish all this stuff for Project Linus, I really didn't feel like crafting for 24 to 48 hours. So last night I finally came back to the project room and did my did the block from this past week, block 18 for Phoebe's Project of Doom, and I will insert a picture of it and of the log cabin blanket that I finished here. And that's all. I probably won't be crafting for the next couple of days. Tonight we've got the honors assembly for my daughter at school for seniors, and tomorrow is graduation. So I won't be home the next couple of evenings. And that's okay, because this is a huge milestone in all of our lives. It's pretty crazy. I still can't believe it's already happening. It feels like she was just born, you know, yesterday. I feel like she's still just a little baby. And I'm sure I will bawl like a maniac tonight and tomorrow. But meanwhile, that's all for me. I look forward to watching your videos. I may not see more than a few until the end of the week, but I look forward to watching them. I hope we keep the interest up. And I will see you all next week. Bye!